Hi there, Jeffrey from the Wetsuit Centre, talking to you today about the Rip Curl Flash Bomb Fusion wetsuit, which is all new for winter 2024, and it comes with some exciting new technology which we haven't had a lot to talk about over the last few years with COVID and everything, so it's nice to see a bit of innovation, and this all lies within the seams of the wetsuit. The Fusion boasts being a pretty much dry wetsuit, so no seam leakage at all. Now, a lot of new wetsuits can boast that. As you know, as you use the suit more and more, you do find the suit will start to leak through the seams and then eventually sort of perish and leak quite a lot. With this new sort of seam technology that the Fusion has, basically the suit should remain completely leak-proof for the entire life of the suit. So that's kind of cool technology, and they do it in a quite clever way, the way they bond the seams. So what we're going to do now is dive into the tech of the suit and show you what lies within. So covering other things away from the seams, you've got the fundamentals. So the neoprene itself is what we call the Rip Curl E7 neoprene, which is the flash dry neoprene, has that sort of a nice fluffy lining, and that's top to bottom as well. So you might be familiar with the flash bomb lining. Basically, it's like a fluffy high pile lining, which is renowned for drying super quick, and also great at insulating. You traps warm air in the body of the suit. We'll turn it inside out in a second so you can have a little look, but essentially that's the whole way through the suit, so very warm. And the actual neoprene itself is the E7 neoprene, is super flexy, so lots of air bubbles, lots of gas bubbles within the rubber, which gives it a huge amount of flexibility, but also a lot of thermal insulation in the suit as well. So when you actually pick up the suit, you can feel it's incredibly flexible and lots of movement inside the suit. Okay, so it's sort of cut quite interestingly, much like the E-Bomb and the new Flash Bomb zip-free. It is a zip-free suit, so there's no zip across the chest. You actually get in through the side here, much like you would do with the chest entry. A little bit trickier to get on and off, but once you get the knack, it's not too bad, and it's great at keeping water out of the suit as well. And obviously there's less chance of the zip breaking or anything like that. So they've gone with the zip-free tech here as well. You've basically got two sections of the suit. You've got the bottom part of the suit, from this sort of seam downwards, all one big piece of neoprene front and back, so less seams, more flexibility, less chance the suit can go wrong, but more and more flex it's about, really. It's just about that flexibility. And then the top part of the suit, having two sections means that they can have minimal seams over the shoulders and under the arms, so you get loads and loads of flexibility. And when you try on that suit, you do feel the seam across there, but it doesn't give you any restriction at all, so it's actually a nice bit of tech. And then the chest entry, or sorry, the zip-free entry, is cut quite short, further away from the shoulder, again to give you maximum movement in the upper part of the suit as well. Okay, if we look further down the suit, you might start to notice some of the taping, which brings us on to the seams and how they're constructed, which is the most interesting part of the suit. So when you normally have two pieces of neoprene butted up together, you have two sheets of neoprene or two pieces of neoprene butted up together, what they'll either do is they'll stitch through the outside like that, and they'll glue on the other side to create a sealed seam, and then might tape it in the more expensive suits as well. Okay, so that is a great way of bonding suits, and it's usually pretty good at keeping water out, but over time you can imagine that glue might fail slightly because there's not a great area where the suit's being stuck together. So what Rip Curl have done is they've basically increased the area where they can apply glue, and which has led them to have like a completely sealed seam basically. So what they do is, you can imagine they cut the piece of neoprene down on a tangent, on a diagonal tangent on either side, and then bond it together to create a big overlap, okay, but still a flat seam. What you get is a nice big area where they can bond those seams, okay? So they apply glue to an area around about there, it's almost like an inch, okay? Then on the outside, you get a little bit taping as well, and that's just there not to reinforce the suit, but just to stop any fraying on the edge of the nylon there, basically. So you get this nice big area where they can glue and weld the suit, okay? And that creates a lot of seal, basically, which means there's very little chance of any water ever getting into the suit. That will give you that longevity in the seam, which is the boast with the suit, is the principal boast in the suit. So every time you get in the water, you can be pretty much dead sure you're not going to be getting any leaks, which is really good with more of us riding wider boards. There's quite a lot of strain, especially on the groin of the suit, and we find a lot of suits do leak there in another sort of like critical areas, and that's never going to happen with the suit. So you're always going to have confidence when you get into cold water, you're not going to feel it flushing into your suit, which is a really cool feature. What I'm going to do now is turn it inside out and just show you a little bit about what's going on in the inside. Okay, so here you have the inside of the suit. As we mentioned before, is that E7 lining. So it's the whole way through the suit, top to bottom, and it's really sort of a plush, fluffy lining. If you come a bit closer, have a little look. And essentially, yeah, that's just going to insulate you, dry nice and quickly, but also keep all the heat that leaves your body inside the suit where you want it to be, okay? Now, you'll be able to see on the seams, most of the seams are just sort of flat, okay, so because that bonding is so secure you don't need to flat tape it, but they do it a bit further down on the suit, just around the groin and the legs, where there's more stress on the suit, there's more chance of any sort of leakage, just to really reinforce the seams, okay? But they didn't want to put it on the upper body of the suit because they didn't want too much restriction. So that's basically the inside of the suit. And so you've got all the benefit of that roll, loads of flexibility, no leaks, but also a lot of insulation as well. Okay, so that's everything going on inside the suit and a bit of an insight into the seam and some of the other important tech in the suit. What I do now is Rip Curl were kind enough to furnish me with a 3.2 version of this suit, which I got to try out in the UK towards the end of September. So we're going to cut to that now and see how I get on. Okay, so you've heard a little bit about the tech of the Fusion suit, and now it's going to be my chance to give it a bash, give it a little try in UK waters. Quite excited to try this suit, number one because it's the first time we've had any sort of new tech or really significant new tech to chat about in a little while. Number two, obviously I like getting free stuff, so that's a bonus. And number three, I'm really interested to see how far, this is a 3.2, they've sorted me out with. So I'm really interested to see how far this 3.2, which is a very high-end 3.2, can take me into English autumn and winter. Okay, sorry it's a bit dark, it's a bit of a dawn patrol mission, but I've got the suit on. This is a medium tall, I'm 6'1", I'm 84 kilos on a good week, and it fits really, really well, which is a bonus because I did try on the heat seeker, the previous suit, and the fit was really horrible on me. I think there's just too much going on in the suit. So this feels a lot more streamlined, nice and tight, obviously, as a new suit would be, but very, very warm at this stage in late September in a car park. So just going to go and try it out, and we'll let you know how we get on. Okay, so just got out of the water, trying on the Rip Curl Fusion. This is a 3.2, the suit. It's the end of September in the UK, probably about 17 degrees in the water, 17, maybe 18. So this is a little bit overkill actually, because with all the flash dry lining and the fact that obviously the seams don't let in any water, which you'd expect on a new suit anyway, I was a little bit toasty. But this is going to be great guns. I would say this is going to almost act like a 4.3, and hopefully, I'll report back, but hopefully take me right up until the much colder months, so it's still with all that flexibility. Talking about flexibility, it is really nice suit, loads of flex, the fit is good with the suit, which I'm chuffed about. So loads of flex. I can feel that sort of join around the suit where the sort of like top is joined to the bottom, but it doesn't really affect you because it doesn't really affect your pad zone. So I thought that might be a problem when I first got the suit, but actually feels okay. With all the lining and everything, it is quite tight, especially when you initially get the suit, so it takes a bit of adjusting to, but I imagine after a few uses it will definitely sort of loosen up. But the primary sort of feature of the suit is the seams. Obviously it didn't leak at all. It is nice sort of padding out into the water and you just don't feel a single thing. That's going to feel great in the winter wetsuit. But all in all, yeah, really good flexible wetsuit, really warm, and we'll see how the seams do. But I think this suit, every time that you put it on, it's going to feel like a new suit basically, because there's no leakage whatsoever. And the new suit feeling is a good one, so yeah, hopefully it continues. But we'll feed back as I start to use it closer to the winter months. Okay, so that's essentially everything going on with the Fusion. It's all about the seams and the lining of the suit and the quality of the neoprene. Okay, so loads of flexibility, you've got all of that insulation and then no leaking in the suit whatsoever. And also no stitching in the suit. The suit is 96% stitch free, apart from a little bit around the neck where they just need the reinforcement. So yeah, it's having tried it on, fantastic suit. It does feel really, really warm, obviously, but it's nice to have that confidence. So you go into the water and you know that you're not going to feel any leaking for the life of the suit, however long that may be. Pros and cons, definitely, obviously, that new suit feeling every time you get into the water, the warmth of the suit, the flexibility of the neoprene, and the sort of benefits of that zip-free system, the sort of flexibility in the shoulder and everything. That did feel really good. Downsides of the suit, cost. Obviously it's quite an expensive suit, it might be prohibitive to some people. Further down at the knees, normally on a sort of wetsuit, especially a high-end wetsuit, you would get a what we call like a Duraflex knee pad, which is sort of like a specially treated material or specially produced material to be nice and robust so that when you sort of rub your knees on your board or whatever, that it's going to be durable and won't wear through. Now I can imagine they haven't put that material in because it's easier to stick the outside taping to just normal neoprene. So they've used just the standard sort of neoprene into there. So if you're a bit of a lazy duck diver like me and often use your knee, then could be a bit of a troublesome area over time. Okay, and talking about the outside taping would be my only other sort of slight tiny concern for the suit is how long that taping would last. Obviously taping on the outside of the suit, you're going to be sat on your board, on a waxy board, and so it's going to be under quite a lot of stress being pulled back and forward, and after time I'm just wondering that maybe that might start to come away. I've got no proof of that, but obviously I just experience of outside taping on suits, I would have thought that might be possible after quite some time. But the worst case scenario, if that did come away a little bit, then it's not actually affecting the sort of like integrity of the seam. It won't start leaking. As we said before, that taping is just to stop the nylon sort of fraying up. So I guess that would only be the thing that would potentially happen, and that would probably only be for after quite some time using the wetsuit. But yeah, that's the only sort of cons that I can think of. And then obviously the zip-free system can be a bit tricky to get in and out of, especially if you sort of have less mobility, okay? But yeah, it comes in a 3.2, a 4.3, a 5.4, and you have got the hooded suit as well. So if you've got the money to spend, then this is going to be a great option if you really don't want water in your suit and you want basically the most high performance winter wetsuit you can get. The 3.2 is a lot of money for 3.2, so that's going to suit people in warmer water that want to basically use a 3.2 for their winter suit. So maybe the south of France, maybe some places Portugal, guys in Israel, this might be ideal for you. And then the 4.3 in the UK, I would be pretty confident for people that don't feel the cold, going for quick surfs, the 4.3 would last them the whole way through. Having tried on the 3.2, I think this would be good for me right up until sort of like November time. I'll report back on how I get on with that. And then obviously with the 5mm suit, it's going to be super warm, no water coming into the suit, ideal for the real cold areas of Europe and for people that really feel the cold. But great to try it out, really impressed, and yeah, some nice to have a bit of new innovation in a suit, and excited to see how long the 3.2 will keep me warm for.